Kevin Harvick just got busted by NASCAR with a huge blow, given an L2 penalty. But something is off with the timing of this penalty. I'll show you an interview clip of Harvick voicing his frustrations with NASCAR and explain what I mean by this suspicious timing. So you'll want to listen to the whole video here because it gets juicy. But this Bakersfield driver has been racing in the NASCAR Cup Series for about 2 decades now, for Richard Childress Racing in the past and Stewart-Haas Racing currently. Basically as long as we can remember. The 46-year-old is undoubtedly one of the more respected veterans of the sport, as he also is a 2014 Cup Series champion and could retire now feeling pretty good about his Hall of Fame career. I think that's safe to say. A couple of weeks ago though at Talladega, a controversial call, or missed call at that, left veteran drivers such as Kevin Harvick baffled with NASCAR. But before I even get to that, this built up frustration for Kevin Harvick has been lingering for a while now, and it all has something to do with the safety issues over the next gen car that many drivers are publicly raising their concerns over, unfiltered. And I'm gonna play you a clip here shortly of Harvick voicing his frustrations openly with NASCAR to the media right after a recent playoff race. But man, it was looking like another disappointment of a performance for Harvick in 2022 as the season wore on. It didn't look like Harvick would be making the playoffs for much of it. That is up until August 7th at Michigan International Speedway, where Harvick took the NASCAR world by storm after breaking his insufferable 65 race-long winless drought by returning to victory lane at Michigan for the 6th time in his career, and the 5th time there in the past 7 times he raced there. It also was his 59th win of his entire career, which bumped him up to 10th all-time in NASCAR Cup Series history. I mean, we're talking about a guy who just 2 years ago in 2020 had tallied up 9 wins, had 20 top 5s, and had an average finish of about 7th. Statistically an insane year for that 4-car. Harvick shocked us all again after repeating as the winner back-to-back, but this time at Richmond Raceway. So he was sitting very comfortably in his locked-up playoff spot, and it seemed like all the momentum was suddenly on his side. Now fast forward to the first race of the playoffs at Darlington, things were looking pretty good for Harvick as he was gaining ground late in the race. I mean, he clawed his way back into the top 5. Like, man, he had a fast car, but something completely unexpected and unfortunate happened for the Stewart-Haas Racing driver there. As 93 laps to go in the final stage, the 4-car literally burst into flames as Harvick scrambles to pull over and get out of the car. Like, imagine that. I remember seeing that live. Like, that's freaking scary. And as you can imagine, Harvick was BS over it. I mean, put yourself in his place. Like, how can this next-gen car be susceptible to this kind of dangerous crap happening? I mean, drivers have voiced their concerns over the next-gen throughout the entire season. I understand not a whole lot will change over one season. Like, they'll probably need the off-season to make some real significant progression to really notice it. But man, it's pretty bad when your best drivers are too afraid to get too aggressive on the track, which they've openly admitted. They're too afraid to get too aggressive on the track and fear wrecking, because it hurts them more than ever, even with softer impacts. But finally here I'm going to show you Kevin Harvick's controversial and fiery comments against NASCAR after his Ford ended up in flames during that Darlington playoff race. And thank you to Noah Lewis for this clip. You guys should check him out on YouTube, where he has plenty of these spicy interviews with NASCAR drivers. But quick reminder that 98% of you watching this video right now are not subscribed to the channel, so hey, click that subscribe button, 100% free and easy. Click that notification bell as well, so you never miss any new content, and smash away at that like button. Thanks for doing that real quick. Now let's get right back into it. Alright, now let's roll the Kevin Harvick interview clip.
We just keep letting cars burn up, letting people crash into stuff, get hurt. Like, we don't fix anything. Now we just riding around out there and the car catches on fire, so just shitty parts.
Your attitude at this point, obviously, I mean, you've been frustrated anyway, but now it affects your race in the playoff.
Well, they don't care. It's cheaper to not fix it. How do we change it? Find somebody to run this show that can run it.
Woo, you lit him up, man. So clearly Harvick went completely unfiltered after the incident, and surprisingly he didn't even get fined or anything by NASCAR, which is pretty strange. However, something big happened just recently, that massive L2 penalty. Now, it is being appealed by the Ford team, but a penalty like this will most likely not be overturned, as seen by Brad Keselowski earlier in the season. It is a killer. Thing is that, the thing that was odd about it was the timing of it, which Harvick alluded to in one of his recent tweets. Seems strange, he says. Harvick's frustration was brewing dating back to Darlington, honestly before that. But his unfiltered comments really started picking up then, I mean, most recently he voices frustration with NASCAR over the safety issues of the next-gen car yet again after the race at Talladega recently. It just seems odd to me and to many of all of us that NASCAR decided to randomly check that Ford car this time around, and of course he gets slammed with this penalty, 100 points, and losing crew chief Rodney Childers until probably Phoenix. That's what it's sounding like. So it looks like NASCAR got their revenge or sent their message, however you want to put it. It just sucks because Harvick is just trying to improve the safety of the cars or bring attention to legitimate concerns, and NASCAR clearly doesn't like him calling them out on it. Harvick also called them out again recently after an incident at Charlotte. Another big time penalty came to Cole Custer, and Harvick's teammate is Stewart-Haas Racing for artificially altering the race at Charlotte. In other words, Custer slowed down in the final lap to slow down drivers Austin Dillon and Eric Jones, which allowed his other teammate Chase Briscoe to pass. And Briscoe ended up advancing to the next round by a 2-point margin, beating the reigning champion Kyle Larson out, but it turns out that didn't really affect the playoff outcome, I guess you could call it. It didn't really affect who was going to make it into the next round. But Custer and his number 41 car crew chief, Michael Shiplett, were each fined $100,000 and 50 team and driver points were taken away. SHR is currently appealing, and so here's what Kevin Harvick had to say about it on Twitter right after the news broke. I'm so confused. And I think that speaks for most of us in saying that, if we're being honest. I mean, so here's NASCAR's logic. You can basically let your teammate do anything other than let them pass you, even though it isn't, it's one of the more minor offenses, if you can even call it that. Like, look what happened to Denny Hamlin. He literally got dumped on a caution by William Byron. Byron got penalized afterwards, after the race, but he and his team Hendrick Motorsports, they won the appeal and got all his points back. Like, still he had to pay $100,000, but that's probably, I mean, that's pocket change to these guys. Give me a break. The real valuable part of that penalty was the playoff points, so now he's able to advance to the next round. It's crazy, man. It seems like if you're a Hendrick driver, you're a golden man. You're in a pretty good spot. I mean, they seem to get away with everything. Like, even Denny had a win taken away from him for having tape on his car. Like, what? Where's the logic here? Overall, it's just the inconsistency with NASCAR's rule enforcing and disciplinary actions that Kevin Harvick is fed up with, and many of us are fed up with. We're on his side here. I know I am. But that's all I got for this one. Hope you all enjoyed. Click the like button if you did. Thank you all for watching. Comment down below. What do you guys think of this whole debacle? You on Harvick's side or not? Be sure to subscribe and click that bell to make sure you never miss another upload. We're active on the biggest things surrounding NASCAR week in, week out, so go do that before you sign off here. See you next time.